Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shiva Sakanzvitam Cha. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Siddha Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patidanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shadvaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 18, The Perfection of Renunciation, text number 15. Sharira Vangmano Birayat Karma Parabhyate Naraha Nayam Va Viparitam Va Panchayate Tasya Hetava Sharira Vangmano Birayat Karma Parabhyate Naraha Nyayam Va Viparitam Va Panchayate Tasya Hetava Sharira Vangmano Birayat Karma Parabhyate Naraha Nayam Va Viparitam Va Panchate Tasya Hetava Sharira Vangmano Birayat Nayam Va Viparitam Va Ladies. Sharira Vangmano Birayat Karma Parabhyate Naraha Nayam Va Viparitam Va Panchayate Tasya Hetava Sharira by the body, Vak speech, Manobi and mind, Yat which, Karma work, Parabhyate begins, Narha a person, Nayam right, Va or, Viparitam the opposite, Va or, Pancha five, Ete all these, Tasya its, Hetava causes. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these five factors. Please repeat. Whatever right or wrong action man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these five factors. Purport, the words right and wrong are very significant in this verse. Right work is work done in terms of the prescribed directions in the scriptures. And wrong work is work done against the principles of these scriptural injunctions. But whatever is done requires these 5 factors for its complete performance. So the text again, Sharira Vangmano Biryat Karma Parabhyate Nara Nayam Vabi Paritam Vap Panchate Tasya Hetava. Whatever right or wrong action man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskyatyade Siddharne. Well, Bhagavad Gita is very consistent in its explanation. That is 2 principles of knowledge. One is that we're all eternal souls, and the other is that Krishna is God, and that the soul is the servant of Krishna. Everything is based upon that, and whatever we understand else is in Bhagavad Gita is simply an explanation of that. In the previous verse we heard that there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of any kind of action. Adhishtanam tata karata, that the place of action and the doer, adhishtanam tata karata, karanam cha pritag vidan, vividas cha pritag chesta, daivam chaivatra panchama. The endeavor, the senses, and ultimately the super soul. These are the 5 causes of action. So we have the soul, we have the super soul, and we have everything else in the material world, which Krishna summarizes as the material energy in different forms. And whatever we're doing is a combination of those 5 factors. But here it says right and wrong. Shrira Vangmano Biryat Karma Parabhyate Nara Nayam Va Viparitam Va. Proper and improper. So proper activity really means that which would put us under the influence of the internal energy. Now the question is, why would we bother? What do we care about whether we're in the internal energy or the external energy? Well, if we're in the internal energy, we suffer. And if we're in the internal energy, we're in bliss. So we can choose whether we want to suffer or be in bliss. But that will depend upon, the main factor is knowledge. Knowledge means experience. With theoretical knowledge, we have some idea. It's somehow or another, we can relate it to our past, some knowledge we can relate to our past experience. We haven't quite understood it, but it's something that we can understand at least. We haven't completely understood it, but we can understand at least theoretically. And actual real knowledge is that which is clear, that which we've actually understood, experienced. That's called tattva, that which is within our range of experience. So knowledge is the central point. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said that one who studies a sacred conversation worships me by his intelligence. The first word of that is Adyeshate chiya imam dharmam sampadam aviyam jnana jagnena tenaham ishtak swam iti me mati. That one who studies a sacred conversation of mine worships me by his intelligence. And therefore, Adyeshate chiya imam dharmam sampadam aviyo jnana jagnena. By the sacrifice, by the worship of knowledge. So it's knowledge that can bring us to the spiritual energy. And it's ignorance that keeps us in the material energy. So knowledge is the key. That's why we're advised to study Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada's books, so we can get real knowledge. Real knowledge is not some academic knowledge where we memorize some things like for the Bhakti Shastri test. I mean, that's good because at least it's theoretical knowledge. But actual knowledge, Krishna says, apiched papi sarve byak papakritamaha sarvam jnana planevaiva vrijinam santarishasi. That apiched asipapebhya. By this knowledge, one can become free from all reactions of sinful activities. It's the boat that can transport one from the material realm to the spiritual realm. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, so does the fire of transcendental knowledge burn to ashes all the accumulated reactions of our previous activities. So at the end of Bhakti Shastri, if we've studied it properly and applied it, then all our sinful reactions should be burnt away in the ecstasy of devotional service. Nihi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsida kalena atmani vidyate. In this world there's nothing so more sublime and pure than transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who achieves this achieves the self within himself at due course of time. In other words, the whole purpose of knowledge is to come in contact with Krishna. Our intelligence is meant to link us in devotional service to Krishna. It is called Buddha Yoga. So that's called proper activity. When the soul wants to serve Krishna, that's all. Because simply to want to serve Krishna is not sufficient. We have to find out what Krishna wants. To want to please Krishna is very good, but then we should find out what Krishna wants us to do to please him. So those are two aspects of knowledge, of Buddha Yoga. One is to find out what Krishna wants us to do, and the other is how to do it in such a way as to please him. That's called Anyabhilasita Shunyam Jnana Karma Dadavritam Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Uttama. That it should be for Krishna, our activities. If they're not for Krishna, then they're called Shravam Evahi Kevalam. And Scripture says that, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yomam Evam Samudo Janati Purushottama Sasarvavit Vajante Mam Sarvabhavena Bharata. Anyone who knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is said to be the knower of everything, and therefore he engages himself in full devotional service. Iti Goyatama Shastram Iti Goyatama Shastram Idam Goyatama Shastram Idam Yuktva Mayanaga Etam Budva Buddhivat Syat Krita Kritas Chavarata. That this is the most confidential part of all the Vedic scriptures, that anyone knows this becomes wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. So all this scriptural injunction, 10 billion verses in the Vedas, is all meant to convince us that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one knows that in truth, then he knows the purport of all the 10 billion Vedic verses. And if one doesn't know that, then he's just wasted his time studying 10 billion Vedic verses. So knowledge is the center, and knowledge, by using knowledge, then we can link ourselves with Krishna, and that knowledge is called Shastra. There can't be any contradiction to Shastra, and Shastra says Krishna is God. So if we're serving Krishna, then properly, knowing what he wants us to do, then we're properly situated in the internal energy. And if we don't do that, if we don't find out what Krishna wants us to do, and we don't do things to please Krishna, then it is said we'll have to act according to lust, anger, and greed. It's not, and it's all done out of delusion and forgetfulness with little spiritual intelligence. Trividam narakasthedam dvaram nashitam atmanaha kama krodha tata lobhas tasmad etam trayam jejet. There are three gates leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane person should try to become free from them because they lead to the degradation of the self. So as soon as we stop trying to figure out what Krishna wants us to do, as soon as we stop doing things for Krishna, then at once we come under the control of the illusory energy. And we'll be forced to act according to the influence of the modes of nature, maybe goodness or passion, ignorance. And what is the result? Is that yakshastra vidim utsrija vartate kamakarata nasasidim avapnoti nasukam na param gatim. That one who doesn't investigate what Krishna wants, he doesn't act according to Shastra, Scripture, then he can obtain either peace, and acts whimsically, which means according to lust, anger, greed, etc., then he neither obtains peace nor happiness nor the supreme destination. In other words, sure, we can be very successful in the material world. We can gain millions or billions of dollars. We can control unlimited resources, material energy, and direct people how to do things, become expert at sports or in entertainment or in business or philosophy, whatever. We can become so expert, everyone will admire us. They'll even build a statue for us, downtown Ljubljana. Yes, we can become so expert that people will sing about our glories for the next decade. But we'll wind up in some other species of life for all our endeavor. It will be under the external energy. On the other hand, if someone is simply doing some simple service to Krishna to please him, then he'll go back to the spiritual world and live forever in bliss and knowledge. So we can make our choice, whether we want bliss, knowledge eternally, or we want to suffer eternally and try to become, in some illusory conception of ourselves, something wonderful and great in the material world for a very brief period of time. So that's our choice. Either we take shelter of Shastra, which Guru and Sadhu are explaining and trying to demonstrate, or we'll have to take shelter of the modes of material nature, which are manifested in varieties of ways by Amazon is selling billions of scriptures for those in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. You can choose whatever scripture you want, and Amazon will send it in a couple of days. And you can practice whatever mode of nature we want, or we can follow the scripture, Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, and come under the internal energy. So according to who we're hearing from, what we're hearing, then we'll do something. According to what we do, we'll either be under the internal energy or the external energy. That's simply our decision to make. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
Thank you very much. Sometimes we know the theory and we even try to put it in practice, but it may remain a theory for a long time. And so what is the best way to translate theory into actual knowledge or skill?
Well, we have to study. It's the realized soul who's actually self-control, because he has faith in pure devotional service. So we have to hear, and then at least take something from what we're hearing and try to apply it. If we don't hear, there's nothing to apply. And we don't apply, we haven't really heard. So how to get around hearing, chanting, and then becoming, there's no way of getting around it. It's up to us whether we come to class, those who are fortunate, they come to hear about Krishna. Whether or not, if we don't take it up, then our fortune is quite limited. It's up to us to do something. Or at least be sincere enough to pray to Krishna, to help, to pray to him that he may help us do something. Even if we don't feel we have the strength, but if we ask him, then he's very helpful. Anything else? Yes.
A person, according to his knowledge, he will make right choice or wrong choice. But if a person doesn't have the knowledge, does he have a choice to make?
One without any knowledge, they're an animal. Animals don't have choices. We're not talking about academic knowledge or technological knowledge. We're talking about knowledge of the self and his relationship to Krishna. One may, as I said, one may become very academically gifted, but without Krishna consciousness, they're Maya Priti Jnanas. One may become very wealthy, but without Krishna consciousness, they're just Naradamas. One may become an expert worker in so many ways, but they're Mudas. One may profess great knowledge about the supreme, great transcendental realization. Without Krishna, they're simply asuram bhavamashrityas, under the spell of different modes of nature. Anything else? Yes.
I would like to have a question. I came very at last, but still I would have a question about how to curb the enthusiasm. Because if I would say like this, when I will put much more devotional service, I think I will get a little bit more frustrated because I will be not so good at practice. But still at the moment, the way I'm doing the practice, I'm so enthusiastic about everything. So how can I curb a little bit, not just by saying, Krishna help me, or not just giving too much of devotional service?
Well, we should try to do steady devotional service. In other words, utsaha nischaya dharayat. The beginning is patience, patiently hearing. So we should regularly and patiently hear, and then our confidence will be there. And then real enthusiasm will awaken. Real enthusiasm, there's no danger for real enthusiasm when it's actually based on knowledge and patience.
At the moment I'm having enthusiasm from much more of mode of ignorance or passion, not so much from goodness.
Yeah, well, enthusiasm can arise from any. People are in the mode of ignorance are quite enthusiastic too about the mode of ignorance. People in passion are quite enthusiastic too. Matter of fact, sometimes they seem more enthusiastic than even the devotees are. If you go to a football game, people are quite enthusiastic. But we have to patiently hear so we can be enthusiastic about becoming Krishna's servant. And develop our confidence that Krishna actually exists, and knowledge about what the process of linking with Krishna is. And then when we have that expertise and that understanding, and we link with Krishna, then by actually coming in contact with Krishna, that's spiritual enthusiasm. Yes.
A question regarding Shradha. As we know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened the market of Holy Name together with Bhaktivinoda, and Holy Name is being sang outside also, so people have the chance to hear. And how can we understand that with some people you get Shradha immediately, and with some it's just not arising? It's just not
Well, it's according to one's past activities and one's receptiveness. One's past activities, if one has cultivated devotional service in the past lifetime, and one has put themselves karmically in a situation where they'll be receptive to the holy name. Just like if people are vegetarians, then the mentality is not so vicious. And if they're vegetarians, then they're not so, and therefore when they hear the holy name, their hearts are a little softer, they may be able to appreciate it more, may have more of an effect. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dormena vriyatai vinira yatardar shalmalenata yatad tenevita garabhastata tenevam avritam. As the mirror is covered by dust, or the embryo is covered by the womb, or the fire is covered by smoke, so the living entity is covered by different degrees of lust. According to the covering we have, we may become more or less receptive. And also it depends upon our particular situation. If someone is believing that they're enjoying unlimitedly in the material world and they have great hopes, future expectations of how much they're going to improve their material existence, the holy name won't mean very much to them. And for those who are a little more inquisitive about why I'm suffering and how to get free from it, they may become a little bit more receptive. All right, thank you very much. Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande Haribo.